Letting go is not just a decision. It is a profound shift that ripples through your entire being. It is not a simple act, but a transformation that takes root in the depths of your consciousness. Carl Jung spent his life exploring the hidden recesses of the human psyche, uncovering that releasing something is not merely about moving on. It is an inner revolution that reshapes the mind from within. Think about it. Throughout life, we accumulate relationships, habits, beliefs, and emotions that may no longer serve us. Yet, we cling to them out of fear, routine, or the illusion of control. Jung believed that this resistance doesn't just hold us back. It distances us from our true essence. It's like carrying a backpack filled with heavy stones, making each step harder on a path that requires lightness. The unconscious plays a crucial role in this process. It is the deep reservoir within us that stores unprocessed emotions, past experiences, and hidden wounds. Jung argued that when we ignore the inner voice warning us that something is off, we create internal tension. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of freeing stored energy, allowing our authentic self to emerge. Consider the times when you sensed that something was draining you, but held on anyway. Maybe it was a relationship that looked perfect on the surface, but left you feeling empty, or a job that felt secure, but stripped you of joy. What happened when you finally walked away? That immediate sense of relief, of weight being lifted, is just the beginning. However, letting go is not simply about leaving something behind. According to Jung, it initiates an internal restructuring. This shift doesn't happen overnight, as the unconscious operates through symbols, emotions, and dreams that take time to integrate. It's like a river that starts flowing again after being blocked. Once the barriers are removed, life begins to move in a more natural and aligned direction. But here's the real question. Why is it so difficult to let go? Jung's theory points to the concept of the shadow, the hidden part of ourselves that we avoid, suppress, or deny. This shadow may hold fears, guilt, insecurities, or even pride. We resist letting go not because of the thing itself, but because of what it forces us to confront within ourselves. For example, staying in an unhealthy relationship might not be about the other person, but about a fear of being alone or belief that you're not worthy of something better. These fears are not external. They stem from unexamined parts of your psyche. Letting go, in this sense, is not just an act of courage. It is an invitation to look inward, to face what is hidden, and to reclaim your power. Jung taught that the shadow does not disappear by being ignored. In fact, it grows stronger, manifesting in repeated patterns, relationships, and choices. True release requires acknowledging this hidden self, embracing it, and integrating it. It is not an easy journey, but it is the path to real growth. Once you face these suppressed aspects of yourself and release what no longer aligns with you, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your perception of the world transforms. It is as if life itself starts to synchronize with your inner truth, opening doors that once seemed shut. This is not magic. It is a natural result of being in harmony with your deepest self. And this is the key. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about trusting. Trusting that by releasing what no longer belongs to you, you are making room for something greater. It is an act of self-honor, an acknowledgement that you do not need to carry burdens that are not yours. When you choose to let go, you are not just freeing physical or emotional space. You're sending a powerful message to yourself. I am ready for something new. It is like opening a window in a room that had been closed for years, allowing fresh air to breathe life into the space. This seemingly simple act has a deep impact, transforming you at every level of your being. Carl Jung argued that the external world is merely a reflection of your inner reality. Everything you experience is, in large part, a projection of what lies within you. So, when you choose to let go, what you're actually doing is realigning that projection. You're allowing yourself to see the world through a new lens, shedding the distortions imposed by fear and insecurity. Have you ever wondered why certain people, situations, or relationships seem to drain you endlessly? Jung explained that this happens because those connections are not in harmony with your true self. Clinging to them means ignoring the signals from your unconscious, urging you to pay attention. But when you finally decide to release them, something shifts. It's as if you're closing a door that was keeping your energy trapped, allowing it to flow freely toward what truly matters. However, this process isn't always easy. Letting go can leave you with a sense of emptiness, a void that can be unsettling. That fear of emptiness is natural. We are conditioned to fill it with external distractions, people, possessions, routines. Yet, Jung taught that this void is not something to fear. On the contrary, it is a sacred space, an opening for something new to emerge. It is like a blank canvas, waiting to be painted with richer, more vibrant colors. Think back to the last time you had to release something significant, a relationship that no longer served you, a dream that once fueled you but no longer resonated. In those moments, it's easy to feel like you're losing something irreplaceable. But with time, you realize that what you gained was far more valuable: clarity, peace, and a renewed sense of purpose. Jung believed that this kind of transformation is never accidental. It is the outcome of deep, conscious inner work. Choosing to let go is engaging in a dialogue with your unconscious, confronting your shadows, and allowing them to surface. It can be challenging, but it is also profoundly liberating. As you release, you start to notice subtle yet significant changes in your surroundings. Relationships that once seemed essential fade away, making space for new, more authentic connections that align with who you are becoming. This isn't random. It's the law of synchronicity, one of Jung's most intriguing concepts. Synchronicity occurs when external events mirror your internal state, as if the universe is responding to your decision to live in alignment with your truth. A classic example is the phenomenon of new opportunities appearing once you let go of something that held you back. Maybe you meet someone who shares your values, land a job that fulfills you, or rediscover a long-lost passion. These experiences aren't coincidences. They are signs that you are in tune with yourself. Reaching this point takes courage. It means asking yourself difficult questions. What am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Why is it so hard to let go? What part of me is afraid to release it? These reflections not only deepen your self-awareness, but also pave the way for real transformation. Ultimately, releasing something isn't just about letting go. It's about making room for what truly resonates with your soul. It's a profound act of self-respect, a testament to your trust in life's natural rhythm, and a declaration of your willingness to evolve. Living from this place of truth shifts everything. The universe responds in ways beyond logic, revealing new opportunities and unseen pathways. There's a deep power in surrendering. It is an acknowledgement that not everything is meant to be controlled, because life itself knows how to reorganize and realign. When we stop clinging to what no longer serves us, as Carl Jung suggested, we not only transform our present, but also unlock suppressed energies that reconnect us to the core of our psyche, our authenticity. The unconscious, a vast and mysterious realm that Jung devoted his life to understanding, communicates through symbols, emotions, and dreams. When you choose to let go of something weighing you down, you send a direct signal to your unconscious. You are ready to grow. But transformation rarely occurs without resistance. Often our ego, the part of us that craves stability and control, resists the idea of release. This is where deep self-exploration becomes essential. Jung encouraged us to confront our shadow, the hidden aspect of ourselves that we rather ignore. When we release attachments, we inevitably come face to face with this shadow. You might realize that your attachment to an unfulfilling relationship stems from a fear of loneliness, or that your reluctance to change careers is tied to a deep need for external validation. These realizations are rarely comfortable, but they are necessary. By acknowledging them, you begin to integrate them. And within that integration lies your true strength. Something remarkable happens when we finally let go. The fears that once seemed overwhelming begin to dissolve. This is because releasing what no longer belongs to us also frees the emotional energy trapped in that attachment. That energy, once stagnant, now becomes the force that fuels our intuition, creativity, and ability to make decisions aligned with our true essence. Jung believed that this release of energy was crucial for connecting with the self, the deepest, most complete version of who we are. As we shed the layers of conditioning and societal expectations, we move closer to a state of wholeness. But how do we know if we're on the right path? According to Jung, the answer lies in synchronicity, the phenomenon where external events align meaningfully with our inner world. These are not mere coincidences. They are signs that we are in harmony with life's greater flow. Perhaps you've thought of someone only to receive a message from them moments later. Maybe you finally walked away from a toxic situation and suddenly new, uplifting connections enter your life. These experiences are not random. They reflect your internal alignment. However, this journey is not without its challenges. Letting go often leads to periods of uncertainty where you question whether you made the right choice. This is natural. Change is always accompanied by a transition, a space where the old no longer exists, but the new is yet to fully arrive. But this space is not empty. It is fertile ground for growth. Jung described this process as alchemical. Just as ancient alchemists sought to transform lead into gold, we transform our wounds and limitations into wisdom and personal power when we release what no longer serves us. This transformation takes time, as deep change never happens overnight. But with each step forward, you move closer to a life of authenticity and fulfillment. As you experience the benefits of letting go, you begin to notice that it doesn't just change your relationship with yourself. It also reshapes your connections with others. The people who once drained your energy fade away, making room for relationships that align with your truth. Life doesn't become perfect, but it does become real. And in that authenticity, you discover a peace that cannot be bought, forced, or faked, only lived. You realize that control is not a prerequisite for security. Instead, you learn to trust life, understanding that chaos is not inherently negative, but rather a catalyst for transformation. Jung believed that chaos precedes order, so instead of resisting change, you begin to embrace it. No matter how unsettling it may seem, every shift is guiding you towards something greater. When you adopt this mindset, you naturally attract abundance, peace, and opportunities, not because you're chasing them, but because your energy has shifted. You are no longer trapped in cycles of fear and attachment. Instead, you move through life with confidence, openness, and authenticity, and that energy is magnetic to the universe. As you align with your true self, an extraordinary shift occurs. Your perception of reality transforms. What once seemed chaotic, confusing, or painful now begins to reveal its deeper meaning. Jung referred to this as awakening to the wholeness of a psyche. Letting go of what no longer resonates with you not only creates space for new, but also allows the most profound aspects of your being to emerge with clarity. This is a moment of transformation, almost mystical in nature. Suddenly, opportunities arise at precisely the right time, the right people cross your path, and the answers you once sought externally begin to surface from within. This is not mere coincidence. It is a natural outcome of aligning with your truth. Jung described the state as a harmonious balance between the conscious and the unconscious, where both work together seamlessly. However, this journey is not without its trials. Along the way, you may face doubts and feel tempted to retreat into the familiar, the comfortable. The ego, that part of you that fears losing control, may whisper that letting go too quickly is risky, that perhaps you should hold on just a little longer. This is where true strength comes into play. Jung believed that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to face it and move forward despite it. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you completely released everything that holds you back. Think of the space you would create, not only in your external world, but also in your mind and heart. That newfound space would fill with clarity, inspiration, and boundless potential. It would feel as though, by surrendering, you are reconnecting with the infinite source of creativity and power within you. Letting go also has a profound effect on relationships. Jung suggested that our connections with others serve as mirrors of our inner world. If you cling to relationships that do not serve you, it may be a reflection of unhealed wounds, perhaps a lack of self-love or fear of being alone. But when you make the choice to release those connections, you are not just freeing yourself from emotional burdens. You are sending a powerful message to the universe that you are ready for deeper, more meaningful bonds. The relationships that enter your life after you let go tend to carry a different energy. They are lighter, more fulfilling, and based on reciprocity rather than dependence. These connections do not ask you to change who you are to fit in. Instead, they inspire you to be more fully yourself. Something else happens when you let go. You begin to reconnect with your dreams. Those dreams that you had set aside, dismissed as unrealistic or abandoned because life got in the way, suddenly resurface. By shedding the weight of what no longer serves you, you regain the courage and energy to envision what you truly desire, and more importantly, to take action toward it. Jung emphasized that personal transformation is not a final destination, but an ongoing process. Each time you release something that no longer aligns with you, you take another step toward wholeness. That does not mean the path is linear. There will be moments of uncertainty, setbacks, even pain. But each of these moments serves a purpose: to teach you something new about yourself, to help you integrate the parts of you that have long been hidden. In this process, self-compassion is essential. To be kind to yourself means accepting that you do not have all the answers, understanding that mistakes are part of growth, and acknowledging that it is okay to feel fear or sadness. These emotions are not signs of failure. They are proof that you are fully experiencing the human journey. By allowing yourself to feel them, you also give yourself permission to heal. The result of this deep inner work is a life that feels more authentic, more aligned with who you truly are. You no longer seek validation from the outside world because you have found acceptance within. You no longer feel the need to control every detail because you trust in the flow of life. And you no longer cling to what is not meant for you because you understand that what is truly yours will always find its way back to you. Carl Jung recognized that true freedom is not something we find outside ourselves, but rather a state we cultivate within. It emerges when we break free from the invisible chains of fear, guilt, and attachment, choosing instead to live with authenticity and trust. When you embrace this path, you don't just transform your own life, you influence the world around you. Every act of self-honesty sparks a ripple effect, inspiring others to do the same and creating a wave of transformation that extends far beyond you. Living in alignment with your truth initiates a profound shift, not just internally, but in how you engage with the world. Jung believed that those who embrace their inner shadows and fully integrate their true essence develop a powerful presence, an energy that doesn't need words to be understood. This happens because by letting go, you stop battling yourself and resisting life. You begin to flow effortlessly, becoming someone who moves with confidence, inspires naturally, and acts from a place of deep truth. Think about this. Every time you hold on to something that no longer serves you, whether it's a relationship, a limiting belief, or a deep-seated fear, you are expending an enormous amount of energy. Instead of channeling that energy into creativity, joy, or new possibilities, it becomes trapped in maintaining what is already obsolete. The moment you release it, you reclaim that energy, allowing yourself to build a life that genuinely reflects your deepest values. Jung described this state as a return to wholeness. He believed that within each of us lies an infinite source of wisdom, a sacred connection to something greater. However, this connection is often buried beneath layers of conditioning acquired throughout life. The process of letting go gradually dissolves these layers, revealing your true self. In this state of clarity, you no longer live according to external expectations, but instead from the core of who you really are. That doesn't mean that releasing will make life effortless or that challenges will disappear. Difficulties will still arise, but your relationship with them will change. No longer will obstacles feel like enemies. Instead, they will become opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Jung suggested that what irritates us in others can actually serve as a mirror, offering a deeper understanding of ourselves. This perspective shift is one of the most profound gifts that come from letting go. One of the most beautiful transformations that occurs through release is the awakening of intuition, that quiet inner voice, so often drowned out by the noise of the external world, begins to grow stronger. It's as if clearing your internal space allows you to hear with greater clarity what your soul has been trying to tell you all along. This intuition becomes your compass, guiding you toward relationships, choices, and experiences that truly align with your purpose. With this deeper connection also comes an overwhelming sense of gratitude, not just for the joyful moments, but also for the struggles that have shaped you. Jung believed that enlightenment is not achieved by imagining beams of light, but by bringing awareness to the darkness within. This idea encourages us to see our shadows, mistakes, and losses not as burdens, but as essential pieces of the puzzle that forms our life. Imagine, for instance, that you spent years in a relationship that made you question your worth. At the time, it might have felt like an unbearable weight, something that drained your energy and clouded your sense of self. But now, looking back, you can recognize how that experience shaped you. It taught you the value of setting boundaries, honoring your self-worth, and prioritizing your well-being. Letting go of that relationship was not just about creating space in your life. It was a catalyst for growth, a necessary step that prepared you for something greater. Jung also spoke of the importance of archetypes in this process. When you choose to release, you awaken and explore within the part of you that is willing to venture into the unknown with courage and curiosity. This inner explorer does not fear change. Instead, it welcomes transformation as an opportunity to uncover new aspects of the self and the world. By embracing this mindset, fear dissolves into excitement and uncertainty transforms into endless possibilities. But it's important to understand that letting go is not a single event. It is an ongoing practice, a daily commitment to examining what you are holding on to and questioning whether it still serves you. Sometimes, letting go means walking away from a relationship. Other times, it is about shedding a limiting belief, releasing an unhelpful habit, or shifting a perspective that no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Every small act of release, no matter how insignificant it may seem, brings you closer to your truest self. The most powerful aspect of this process is that as you live with authenticity, you become a guiding light for others. Jung once said, "He who looks outside dreams, he who looks inside awakens." And when you awaken, you unconsciously inspire those around you to do the same. This brings us to an essential question. What could you create if you let go of everything that no longer serves you? What relationships, projects, or dreams could you manifest if you stopped carrying the weight of the past? These questions are more than just food for thought. They are reminders of the limitless potential you hold within. Jung taught that real transformation does not happen outside of us, but deep within our psyche. When you release, you're not just breaking free from the past. You're opening yourself to a future filled with new opportunities. You are choosing to live from a place of trust, connection, and authenticity. And while this choice may seem simple, it carries the power to change everything. Ultimately, letting go is not just about freedom. It is an act of courage. It is the realization that you do not need to cling to anything that no longer aligns with your growth. True transformation begins within, by facing your shadows, integrating your emotions, and trusting in the unfolding of life. As you release, you are not only breaking the chains of the past, you are making space for the new, the meaningful, and the aligned find their way to you. This journey is not always easy, but it is profoundly rewarding. It is a path toward wholeness, where every choice, every connection, and every experience resonates with your deepest truth. And in doing so, you do not just transform your own life. You inspire others to do the same. Because when you shine, you encourage those around you to step into their own light. So now, I invite you to reflect. What are you holding on to that no longer aligns with you? What could you gain if you had the courage to release it today? This is your moment. Within you lies everything you need to create a life that reflects your authenticity, your purpose, and your connection to the universe. And so, as you stand at this crossroads, remember, you have the power to create a life that aligns with your truth, your purpose, and your highest potential. Every step you take toward letting go is a step toward the life you were meant to live. Trust yourself, embrace the journey, and know that the universe is always guiding you towards something greater. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe and join this journey of transformation and self-discovery. Together, we rise, we evolve, and we create the lives we truly deserve. Your next chapter begins now. Rejection is one of the most painful and universal experiences a human being can endure. Throughout history, the need for acceptance has been a cornerstone of the collective psyche. From childhood, we seek validation from our caregivers, friends, and authority figures. But what happens when that validation never arrives? How does our self-perception shift when we face rejection in love, work, or personal relationships? Carl Gustav Jung, in his profound exploration of the unconscious, offers us a groundbreaking perspective. Rejection is not just an isolated event, but a reflection of our own hidden shadows, the aspects of ourselves we suppress out of fear of not being accepted. But what if rejection was never the enemy? What if, instead of being a wound, it was actually an opportunity for self-discovery and transformation? The fear of rejection is one of the deepest emotional wounds we carry, both individually and as a society. Not being chosen, not being validated, feeling excluded. These experiences strike at our very core. We have been conditioned to equate rejection with failure, but Jung challenges us to look deeper. To him, everything that disturbs us holds a hidden message waiting to be deciphered. It is within the shadows that our deepest truths are concealed, and paradoxically, where our greatest power also resides. Imagine this everyday scenario. You send a message to someone important to you, but you don't receive an immediate response. Within seconds, your mind begins spinning narratives. They don't care about me. Did I say something wrong? Maybe they don't want to talk to me anymore. In just a few minutes, a simple lack of response triggers a storm of insecurities and doubts. This is the power of rejection. It reactivates old wounds, ones that were formed in childhood and reinforced over time. But what if, instead of allowing ourselves to be consumed by these emotions, we use rejection as a tool for self-awareness? What if we could transform anguish into an opportunity to strengthen our relationship with ourselves? Reverse psychology offers a revolutionary approach. Instead of resisting rejection or begging for validation, it invites us to shift our perception. Jung spoke of the importance of integrating the shadow, that is, acknowledging and embracing the part of ourselves that we fear or deny. If rejection makes us feel unworthy, instead of running from that feeling, we could ask ourselves, why am I seeking this external validation? What parts of myself am I failing to value? This is where rejection transforms from an adversary into a teacher. Instead of viewing it as an obstacle, we can use it as a mirror. Every time we feel rejected, we have the chance to examine our limiting beliefs. Are we truly less valuable just because someone dismissed us? Or are we simply projecting onto others the power to define our worth? Think about it for a moment. How many times have you changed your behavior or overextended yourself just to avoid rejection? We adapt, we reshape ourselves, and too often we abandon our authenticity just to fit in. But this constant pursuit of approval can become a dangerous trap. Jung reminds us that true transformation happens when we stop searching for answers outside ourselves and instead turn inward to discover what has always been within. Rather than seeing rejection as an ending, we can begin to view it as the start of something new, an opportunity to rediscover ourselves, build unshakable self-worth, and remember that our value is not determined by external approval. Accepting our shadow, integrating our wounds, and embracing the uncertainty that rejection brings can lead us to a more fulfilling and authentic life. The real question is, how do we apply this wisdom in our daily lives? We can start by changing our relationship with rejection so that it stops being a burden and instead becomes a powerful tool for growth. The first step is self-awareness. Each time we experience the sting of rejection, instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause and ask ourselves, what is this moment revealing about me? What hidden fears, insecurities, or patterns are being exposed? The second step is to practice radical self-acceptance. Instead of desperately seeking validation from others, we can invest in building an inner foundation of self-love that remains steady regardless of external circumstances. And finally, we can use reverse psychology to shift our mindset. If someone rejects us, instead of seeing it as a loss, we can see it as a redirection towards something greater. Rejection is not a punishment. It is a golden opportunity to deepen our self-awareness. In this journey of self-discovery, there is no better guide than our own shadow. As Jung famously said, what you deny enslaves you. What you accept transforms you. Are you ready to turn rejection into your greatest ally? Reverse psychology is a tool that, when applied consciously, can completely change how we experience rejection and the emotions tied to it. Jung taught that the shadow, the suppressed, unacknowledged parts of ourselves, is not something to be eliminated, but rather something to be integrated. Reverse psychology can serve as the bridge for this integration. When faced with rejection, our instinct is to resist. We want to be accepted, validated, and loved. However, by using reverse psychology, we can reframe rejection and use that same energy to empower ourselves rather than allowing it to weaken us. Psychological studies have shown that individuals who cultivate emotional detachment consciously tend to develop greater resilience and a more stable sense of self-worth. One of the core principles of reverse psychology, when applied to rejection, is the theory of cognitive reappraisal. This theory suggests that how we interpret an emotionally painful experience can determine its long-term impact. If, instead of perceiving rejection as a statement about our worth, we view it as an opportunity for expansion and personal evolution, we take back our power. Rejection no longer defines us. It fuels our growth. Jung believed that the soul requires freedom to evolve, and part of that freedom comes from releasing the need for external validation. The ability to let go is fundamental in this process. In our daily lives, we often cling to relationships, jobs, or friendships that no longer contribute to our well-being, simply out of fear of rejection or loneliness. However, reverse psychology offers us a way to break free from these mental chains. When we stop insisting on something that causes us suffering, we experience an inner liberation that opens doors to new possibilities. Psychological techniques like Viktor Frankl's paradoxical intention illustrate this concept in action. Frankl proposed that when we stop fearing something and instead embrace it, its power over us diminishes. For instance, if we are afraid of rejection rather than avoiding situations that might expose us to it, we can face them with detachment. By doing so, we reduce emotional distress and gain a sense of empowerment. Another relevant study comes from Carol Dweck's research on the growth mindset. Her findings revealed that individuals who perceive challenges as opportunities for learning rather than fixed failures are more likely to overcome emotional struggles and develop greater self-confidence. Applying this principle to rejection allows us to view it not as a measure of our worth, but as a valuable lesson in personal growth. From Jung's perspective, releasing the need for external validation creates space for self-discovery. The shadow, instead of being an enemy, becomes a teacher. In this sense, reverse psychology acts as a tool to shift our focus from external approval to inner strength, enabling us to uncover our true power. This shift in perspective allows us to rewrite our internal narrative. Instead of seeing ourselves as victims of rejection, we recognize ourselves as individuals in continuous transformation. This new outlook strengthens our sense of identity, liberates us from paralyzing fears, and connects us with an authenticity that naturally attracts relationships and experiences aligned with our true essence. The paradox of reverse psychology lies in the fact that the moment we stop desperately seeking approval, we become more appealing to others. However, this attraction is not based on manipulation, but on genuineness. When we are comfortable in our own skin, we radiate an energy that fosters more authentic and fulfilling interactions. Integrating reverse psychology into our lives allows us to transform rejection into a powerful tool for personal growth. It helps us release our attachment to external validation, reinterpret our experiences, and connect with our true essence. As Jung stated, "What you resist persists." By embracing rejection as a natural part of life, we strip it of its destructive power and turn it into fuel for our personal evolution. Throughout this journey, we have explored how rejection, rather than being a roadblock, can actually become a turning point in our lives. Jung taught us that not everything happens by chance. Certain events are deeply intertwined with our psyche and may serve as signals that internal change is necessary. When we shift our perspective on rejection, seeing it not as an enemy but as a guide, we unlock its potential for transformation. This is where reverse psychology plays a crucial role. The moment we let go of the need for external approval and begin to focus on our own authenticity, our energy shifts. The paradox is clear. When we stop trying to hold on, we naturally become more attractive, more magnetic. This isn't just a psychological trick. It happens because we align with our essence and stop living from a place of fear. But how do we apply this in everyday life? Here are some effective practices to help you integrate this mindset. Reframe your internal narrative. Whenever you face rejection, pause and question yourself. Is this truly a failure, or is it an opportunity to redirect your path? The way we interpret experiences shapes their impact on us. A no. Today may be the redirection we need to discover something even greater tomorrow. Observe synchronicity. Do not view rejection as a mere coincidence. Ask yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? Where is it guiding me? Often, when we reflect on past events, we realize that a door closing at the right moment led us to something far better. Paying attention to these patterns can reveal profound insights about our journey. Practice emotional detachment. Letting go does not mean suppressing emotions. Rather, it means learning not to depend on external validation. The key is to give yourself the recognition you often seek from others. Dedicate a few moments each day to acknowledge your own worth, independent of outside approval. When you build self-assurance from within, rejection loses its sting. Transform resistance into acceptance. Jung emphasized that resistance only strengthens what we are trying to avoid. Instead of fighting rejection or the pain it causes, allow yourself to fully experience it, understand it, and then move forward with a renewed perspective. Acceptance is the bridge to growth. Live authentically. When you stop acting to please others and start expressing yourself genuinely, the right people naturally gravitate toward you. Instead of forcing situations, flow with life and trust that what is meant for you will find its way to you at the perfect time. Ultimately, rejection is not an endpoint. It is a catalyst. The moment you stop fearing it, you unlock a new level of freedom, confidence, and alignment with your highest self. Jung left us with a profound lesson. Those who look outside dream, but those who look inside awaken. And that is exactly what we're doing here, awakening. Understanding that every experience, even rejection, is a doorway to discovering our truth and aligning with our deepest purpose. The key is not to avoid rejection, but to decode its meaning and turn it into an advantage. So, how will you transform your next rejection into an opportunity for growth? Throughout life, we encounter rejection in many forms. Romantic setbacks, career disappointments, unfulfilled aspirations, even within our own families. In those moments, it is natural to feel lost, discouraged, or even question our worth. However, when we shift our perspective and view these experiences through the lens of synchronicity and reverse psychology, we realize they are not mere roadblocks, but hidden opportunities in disguise. Synchronicity teaches us that every significant event in our lives is intertwined with our inner world. Jung believed that nothing happens by chance. Rather, the universe mirrors our emotions, thoughts, and energy. This means that when we face rejection, instead of perceiving it as a punishment or proof of inadequacy, we can see it as a sign, a nudge from the universe, redirecting us toward a path that is more aligned with who we truly are. This is where reverse psychology becomes a powerful tool. Instead of resisting rejection or seeking external validation at all costs, we can do the opposite. Embrace it with calmness and detach from the need for approval. By doing so, we reclaim our personal power. In other words, the moment we stop trying to prove our worth to others and start affirming it within ourselves, our entire energy shifts. This internal transformation not only strengthens our self-esteem, but also makes us naturally more magnetic and compelling to those around us. When we adopt this mindset, rejection is no longer a source of suffering. It becomes a turning point. We can ask ourselves key questions. What is this experience trying to teach me? How can I grow from this? Is there something within me that needs to be strengthened before I move forward? Instead of getting stuck in frustration, we can use rejection as a guide, pointing us towards something better. Practicing reverse psychology in these situations means learning to flow with life's events rather than resisting them. When we cling to a relationship that no longer serves us, a job that fails to fulfill us, or an outdated self-image that no longer defines who we are, we only invite more suffering into our lives. However, when we accept that life is guiding us towards something greater and open ourselves to new possibilities, we experience profound and authentic growth. Jung famously said, "He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakens." Applying this principle in the context of rejection means shifting our focus inward, exploring our emotions, and uncovering what we truly desire. When we do this, rejection ceases to be a roadblock and instead transforms into a mentor, guiding us toward personal evolution. Ultimately, when we release the need for external approval and embrace the idea that everything happens for a reason, we unlock a newfound sense of freedom. We come to realize that we don't need validation from the world to feel whole. It is in the state of authenticity and self-assurance that we begin to attract experiences that genuinely align with our essence. So the next time you face rejection, remember, this is not the end. It is an invitation to grow, to trust the process, and to allow life to lead you toward what truly belongs to you. Rejection is not a dead end, but a message from the universe, redirecting your energy towards something more in tune with your destiny. Have you ever experienced a moment where rejection led you to something even better? Share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more content on deep psychology and personal transformation. See you in the next video.